Our plans were to go down to Granada.
Today is April 2nd, 2020, and we are in St. John Island now, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we're gonna go on a hike at Reef Bay. Reef Bay Estate was established in the early 18th century as a cattle and cotton plantation. The factory building retains much of its original equipment. In addition to the factory, the district includes a horse mill, a freestanding bake oven, a cemetery, and the remains of 3 small dwellings.
If you stop, she stops.
You got it back.
An active captain, the anchor said about the hike that there was some water crossings here, but they're not too bad. And they're not bad at all right now. They're not bad at all.
It's all dried up. It's really peaceful and quiet here. I could just sit here for a little while the world is in chaos. It's really nice. No people. I definitely recommend this hike.
So these are petroglyphs. A petroglyph is a sign, a marking in stone. These were carved between 900 to 1500 AD. They don't know exactly when because there's not a lot of documented history in this area, but these were carved by the pre-Columbian Taino, the natives of this area, and their ancestors. These carvings exemplify the designs found on the ceremonial Taino pottery. We also saw these Taino markings in the caves in Los Itices in the Dominican Republic. The pool and symbols were a sacred dwelling place, and they were ritualistic sites for the spirits of their ancestors. This spring-fed pool stays at nearly the same level despite rainfall, causing an interesting and perhaps intended mirror effect of the petroglyphs, a duality of the spiritual and living worlds, and often reflected in Taino art.
There's a lot of history on this trail with the sugar mill and then these carvings from Tainos. It's interesting.
I know I'm just projecting, but because the waterfall's not running now, and clearly this is a place that people visited for the waterfall, it makes it feel like this place is also shut down for the pandemic, and it just makes it feel like really quiet and really dead. Like it's the spirit of what's supposed to be here isn't here. The water and the waterfall, the people in the streets. It's weird.
But the wildlife is thriving.
Wildlife is thriving, and it's peaceful. It is peaceful. No cars, no planes, no noises other than us noisy humans and some birds. And Aria.
She fell asleep on Papa. Aww. So other cruisers have said that snorkeling here at Reef Bay is really good right now, so that's what we're going to do right now.
Normally it's kind of rough on the south side and foggy, but it's been calm for the past few days and the dust is all settled, so the reef is clear and open to have us take a look.
Yeah, and we're the only ones here. Look how pretty.
She's a gal with the bright red hair. Now she stands high from all the rest. You know her anywhere. Where she's mine. Yeah, she's mine. Well, I love that little girl with the bright red hair. Well, Miss Lindy, my Miss Lindy. Well, I love that little girl with the bright red hair. Have you ever seen Miss Lindy? She likes to dance all day, and when she does rock and roll, it takes your breath away. Well, she's mine, yeah, she's mine. Well, I love that little girl, she's so fine. Well, Miss Lindy, my Miss Lindy. Well, I love that little girl,
Found some treasure. Alright, is a worn out puppy. It's good because she had a lot of energy.
We just did a snorkel. It was pretty good, better honestly than I expected. And we are now gonna move over to another part of the island because we don't know if they end up shutting down the ability for us boats to move around, then I want to at least have seen St. John Island, even if not toured all of it. So we're gonna do a circumnavigation of St. John's over the next couple days. So tonight we're gonna move to a peninsula on the far east side of the island.
It's been an ideal day today for me. We got to go hiking and do short sails and snorkel, and it's sunny and it's really nice.
It is nice.
How did you like today?
So far today's good. I wish I was a little bit less stressed out about the boat. Like, this stuff's never like completely off my mind because I'm gonna have to leave to the United States soon. So it's hard to like let go of that. Plus, I gotta work here soon, so I've always got that on my mind. So I feel very multi-threaded, and it's hard to just completely relax. But it is a really nice day.
Awesome. Hey, Kira. Oh, you're still sleeping? Oops. Okay, never mind. She's still sleeping.
She fell back asleep. Cute.
So we're about to anchor here, and Kira is eating sweet potatoes, apple sausage, and corn.
We have just anchored in Round Bay, and this is part of St. John's Island where you're allowed to do your own anchoring. Most of it's a park, but you have to use moorings. But here you can do anchoring. It seems really quiet here. The water's really clear, pretty teal. Our friends Sargo are here. We didn't know they were here, but now we see them. So we'll hang out here for a day or two and just relax. Just checking out this side of the island, getting some work done before they hopefully don't lock down boat movement. But if they do, at least we could say we've seen over here. But it's really, really pretty.
Have you ever seen Miss Lindy? She likes to dance all day. And when she does rock and roll, it take your breath away. Well, she's mine. Yeah, she's mine. Well, I love that.
We are in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We got here 2 to 3 weeks ago. Probably more closer to 3 weeks now. And we've been hanging out mostly in the Water Island St. Thomas area because Kelsey's parents came and visited us. And it was a very lovely visit, but they got here right as everything was falling apart due to coronavirus. So
We got here when the last cruise ships were here, so.
yeah, for our first day here was the last day of cruise ships. And it's progressively gotten more locked down, as I'm sure you can tell, or you would suspect. So we stayed around Water Island, which is the St. Thomas area. There's 3 big islands here in the U.S. Virgin Islands: St. Thomas, St. John's, and St. Croix, and some little ones scattered about. St. Thomas is like the main cruise ship one, the touristy one. St. John's is like the nature refuge, and I don't really know much about St. Croix because it's like 70 miles that way.
Yeah, I feel like no one wants to sail there for some reason.
It's just far away.
We just been snorkeling a lot and
Some hikes.
some hikes.
Learning spear fishing a little bit, although I've not stabbed any animals yet. So yeah, we've been doing watery activities here. We've also been prepping the boat as best as we can with food and water, just in case things really go on lockdown
And
here.
fuel.
Yeah, food, water, fuel.
So, and then what's happening now? We did a live video like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago about coronavirus.
But it's escalated since then.
Yes, so now you can explain like what's happening around us and what's the new regulations now.
If you can get in, so all the cruisers who can cross into the United States are crossing into the United States because this is the last island area that you can actually get into and have some freedom to move around. And that actually excludes Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico is being pretty unfriendly to boaters. They've closed all the marinas. They've made it really hard to be a cruiser in Puerto Rico right now. The grocery stores, like, you can only go out in the streets every other day depending on like your name or your driver's license, and you can only go to the grocery store and back. It's like a hard curfew at nighttime. It's just pretty difficult. No going to beaches or anything like that.
What's going on in the BVIs right now?
The BVIs, starting 2 days from now, will be doing a strict 14-day 24-hour day quarantine, which means you can't go outside for any reason at all for 24 hours a day for 14 days in BVIs,
That
which
does
is
not sound fun.
pretty extreme. And then I know Grenada, like, because we have our eyes on going to Grenada. That's probably not going to happen, but Grenada's got a curfew with a little bit more freedom, but still, it's a hard curfew. So the USVIs have the most freedom to move around and be a cruiser right now, and actually.
But restaurants are closed and non-essential businesses are closed.
But here, it's a lot of businesses that we use are essential. All the restaurants have takeout. Well, most of the restaurants have takeout. The marina is still open. The marine stores are open. A lot of them have revised hours, but the fuel dock's open. We can get rid of
the
trash.
grocery stores are open.
And the hardware store is open. So like it's not affecting us too hard with closures when we want food or fuel or anything. We do it early in the morning to avoid waiting in lines, because there are lines. They're limiting the amount of people going to grocery stores here.
And this is April 2nd, so it may change. We're worried that it will become like the BVIs. So we're trying to prepare and see things right now.
Here is
while we can.
It's the U.S. here, so they're playing by the U.S. rules. They can't do too much that the mainland U.S. isn't doing.
Oh, they closed hotels and Airbnbs here, so you can't book anything new here.
Yeah, they can't close the border.
They're trying to like make sure no tourists come.
Anyway, so that's kind of the rough update here, but we're worried that if they start restricting boat movement, it's going to make life difficult for us on boats.
So what were our plans and what are our plans now?
Our plans were to go down to Grenada for the summer, or the Trinidad, Grenada, wherever area. Basically anywhere south of 12.4 latitude. Now, I honestly don't see Grenada opening their borders before hurricane season. And even if they did, there's a question about economic repercussions of all of this. If they have some social strife, or anywhere honestly has social strife due to economic downturn, then it really wouldn't be great for us to be stuck there, unable to go anywhere else except for jumping all the way like it'd be 13 days back north across the hurricane zone.
It's just like borders are closed. We don't think they're going to be opening anytime soon, so we'll have to do an 8-day sail to Florida.
Or a 10.5-day sail to Charleston. Like
non-stop, which we don't have enough fuel on board to be able to do that, so we're going to have to sail.
We don't have enough fuel to be able to... We don't have enough fuel to motor that the whole way back.
Yeah, so we do need to sail.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing about a sailboat, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we worked our way uphill with the thorny path to windward. So now we get to go downhill, which like downwind. So it shouldn't be a bad sail. It should actually be a pretty decent sail, just the longest one we've ever done by double.
You either stay here for hurricanes or you go back to the U.S. and be around a bunch of people who are infected.
It'd be staying here with hurricanes uninsured, because our insurance will not let us be here during hurricane season.
Yeah, we don't want to risk the boat.
So we're going to be sailing back soon. But in the meantime, this is not a bad spot. So the timeline is probably 2 to 3 weeks we're going to start looking at sailing back. We'll quarantine ourselves, we'll provision everything, food, water, fuel, and then we'll probably just self-quarantine for a week so that we can make sure we're not going to get sick on the journey. We don't want to like go and provision and catch something and then get sick while we're sailing. And then from there, we will sail the whole way back, and ideally in a couple weeks it's going to be peaking in the US, and as it starts to subside and maybe things start to become normal, hopefully, is when we'll start leaving here, when honestly it's probably going to get bad here about then. Here has been a few weeks behind of everything. When things start going bad, if there's resource scarcity, then there can be violence. And we've heard in the Dominican Republic and Samana where we were, they actually told all the cruisers to leave Samana and go to Los Aitices, which is like a 10-mile sail across the bay. It's not accessible by land or anything. It's just you really only get there by boat, because they were worried that there would be people striking, people acting out against the cruisers. So DR has already been worried about violence. And here, I mean, there's violence here. We hear gunshots in the hills sometimes at night, but it's not bad now. I just worry that if it gets bad, we'll be stuck here and have to make like a rushed decision or something.
Yeah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts about the whole situation and what you would do if you were here, or do you have any like prep plans or thoughts of where this is going, or do you think like the virus will end soon? So I've been feeling a lot of like anxiety, and I'm feeling down because I wanted to see the Caribbean, but I have anxiety about doing like an 8-day straight sail back because we've only done a max 4 days straight, so it's just kind of scary, and like there's nowhere really that will let us in, and I guess they'll let us have safe harbor maybe, but I don't know, it's just something that we didn't think we'd have to deal with. How do you feel?
Anxious to get it over with, but we're not ready to do it because we have some parts that are being shipped down here right now. I was able to fix our auto helm, but we still don't have radar, we don't have AIS, we don't have a chart plotter. We got the Raymarine.
Because they broke. Not that we never had them.
Yeah, they broke. We still have Navionics, which is good backup charts. Honestly, we use that more, but I would very much like to have radar for the way back. So, and also we have a leak in our port fuel pump, the manual little thing that I just found yesterday. So it drips a little bit of diesel. I need to fix that before we leave. Although it should be just a downwind sail, and we probably won't have to use our engines much at all.
So we just wanted to talk to you about our new plans and how we're feeling and what's going on here. Let us know how it is in your area. See you in the next video.
Bye.
What's the joke of the day?
What is it called when a dinosaur farts? Anybody? Oh, there's no one here. A blast from the past.